When you played at Texas, did you overlap with Coach Frost at Nebraska?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I played at Texas in the 1850s. And he's a little bit younger than I am. No, he's young.
Does his offense, how much does his offense at UCF reflect the Nebraska system he ran as a player?
No, it's not. It's not the same. You
No
know, those
overlap?
guys, those today with his offense, they're incredibly, like Coach Craddock said, incredibly explosive. They go fast. You know, and we talk about tempo. Anytime we face an offense that has great tempo, you know, you say, oh, well, they can't do that. They can't do that many plays. They're gonna attack you with it a couple plays, but when you watch them on film, it's over and over and over and over. And you know, our guys, we feel like our guys, because we face teams throughout the season, and really since we've been here, and we face it in our offense, teams that go fast, and teams that have really good players who can stretch the field. So it's not something that is totally foreign to our guys, but they just really do a good job of it, and they're playing well right now.
Rodney with another second really strong game in a row. What do you think has been the biggest difference for him since the bye week?
Well, we go back to, we talk about consistency and the confidence that you build in yourself as a player, and then that you have in the defensive team or in your team overall. When you make the play you're supposed to make, when you do it right, and then you do it again, and you believe you can do it, so you do it again. And that's really what we're seeing from Rodney. Now, let's just be honest. He's not perfect. He's not like you guys, but he's gonna make some plays, and then there'll be some times where he won't make the play, and that's just part of being a young football player and being in a position where if Mason Gentry misses a tackle, you have Rodney Clemens to make up for it. If Rodney Clemens misses a tackle, then somebody's band is playing. And you know, we always talk about, and it's not our band. So we always talk to our defensive backs about being in that position, living that life that, you know, you have to be perfect. You have to be perfect every time is what we train, but we understand that it's very difficult to do that. So what you're seeing from Rodney is much more consistent play, and coaches talk to our team and we talk to them about aligning your arrow, and so we're just seeing Rodney's great attempt to get his arrow straight on a more consistent basis.
How do you go about your game plan for defense, dividing that among your assistants?
Well, we divide. It's a little bit different in offense, but then in a way it's the same. We break up, and the thing that we talk about is coaches, you go and come back as an expert. For example, Buddy Wyatt, come back as an expert on short yardage and goal line. Come back as an expert on what they do in their field goals, so we can have a great field goal block plan together, and send just left out and say, okay, in red zone in the pass game, come back and be an expert and be able to report that to the staff. And Coach Mack goes and he's a run game expert, and then Coach Wyatt and he will get together on the protections. How should we attack the protections? And then what I do is I try to watch the flow of the game. So I'll, just kind of like Coach Craddock said, I'll watch many of their games. What I do is I just put 700 plays together on a cut-up, and then I'll just try to watch through the flow of the game, watch to figure out how this offensive coordinator calls, how does he operate through the game, how does he present his offense, how does he present it, because we have to match that on defense. It's a little bit different, you know, on defense, because, you know, Coach Craddock, they put a plan together, and if it doesn't work on play number 3, they just punt. You know, if our stuff doesn't work, again, bands play, and not ours. So it's important that we, no matter what we put in defensively, because I was talking to somebody about, well, you guys have, you gonna put in any new schemes? Well, each defensive play that we install, we have to match it up against everything that they can do, everything that they've done, and then everything that they could possibly do. So it's a little bit different because we have the philosophy that it's safer, it's better for us to keep our players understanding what we're doing and what they're doing, as opposed to, you know, chasing the offense. And that's kind of how we go about it, week to week, or excuse me, day to day throughout the week. Tuesdays, which is today, when we go out, we'll focus with our players. We'll focus more on what we call base downs, first and second down, base situations where you don't know it's a run or it's a pass. We call that base down situations. So we'll focus on those on Tuesday, and then we'll sprinkle in some short yardage. And then on Wednesday, we'll lock in on third down and how the offense attacks us on third down and how they attack us in the red zone. And then on Thursday, we'll go through other parts of the field and those other things or other situations that we may have that come up in a game. And then on Friday, we try to play the game. We'll script the practice and we'll move around on the field to simulate for our guys substitutions. Okay, here we would sub in dime, or here we would sub in a goal line personnel. So we end up playing the game on the Friday. So kind of like what Coach Craddock said, when you have the shorter week, you kind of, like we had last week, you have to compact all that into fewer days, and it makes for some late nights.
Coaches always talk about respecting your opponent, and obviously when you face a team that's putting up 50 points a game, finding motivation for that isn't difficult. But when you have, at least on paper, 6 starters who are sophomores, do you focus less on the numbers than you might if you had an older more veteran lineup?
Yeah, I think it's important. Like you said, you have to respect your opponent. You have to respect what they do. But it's much more important for your guys to understand what you're asking them to do. And it's much more important that you focus on. And that's kind of what that's just the way we do it, is that we're in a place to where we just feel like it's much more important, much more beneficial for us to focus on us. Because there's a lot of things that we're still working on, right? There's a lot of things we're still working to get corrected. A lot of things we're still working to be more consistent at doing. And the great thing is that you look up and we've won games. Like Coach said, on offense, haven't played well, but we've won games. And that's a testament to guys on offense and different guys on defense, as well as special teams, is to finding a way to be able to come out with a victory. Whereas there have been many days we've sat in this room, all of us together, and talked about how close we were, and we just got to find a way to find a way. And now our guys are able to be able to do that for us.